Hello everybody, good morning. I hope you're all doing very well. Thank you very much for joining me today. My name is Philakone and I've been in the crypto space for over 8 years now. And my job is to provide you with top tier technical analysis from the perspective of a day trader and investor who's been in the crypto space for over 8 years now. So thank you very much for joining me today. So for those that are new to my channel, welcome. And especially to those that have been here for a long time, I appreciate your support tremendously. And I wouldn't be here today in this crypto space without all the love and support that you've given me. If you appreciate my content and want to support me, I'd really appreciate it if you hit the like button, the subscribe button, and the notification bell. This way, it's gonna inform you every time I release a new video and also let you know when I start to live stream, so you're able to ask me questions and I'll be able to give you an answer very quickly as well. So in my first 8 years of cryptocurrency, I learned a tremendous amount. It had so many ups and so many downs, but the most important thing about these ups and downs and the volatility I had to endure was that it taught me many life lessons as well. It taught me that life has so many ups and so many downs, and we can see things as very positively or very negatively. And it's just a matter of optimizing and refining these bad situations and learning from them. That's eventually going to make you successful in every endeavor that you partake in. And for those that have been with me for a long time, you might have seen me in a very bad period of my life before where I was just out of control. And I do admit that 100%. And I do apologize to everybody that's been with me for a long time that actually had to endure it. But right now I'm in such a great position in my life, and I believe that everybody has an opportunity to take the mistakes that they've learned and tremendously try to improve on it by making a conscious decision to say, hey, I made mistakes, I'm human, and I'm only going to do better from now on because of these mistakes. And cryptocurrency is no different at all. You're going to make a lot of mistakes. I've made so many mistakes in crypto to the point where I thought life was going to be over. I lost all the money that I couldn't afford to lose, and I thought there would be no point of recovery. But for some reason, I'm still here. And just like yourself as well, it seems like we're both undefeated every single day in our whole lifetime because we're still here today. So if you change up your mindset and your psychology and believe that everything happens for a reason, if we actually take all of these mistakes and we use it into fuel, into learning something that can improve our future circumstance, there's going to be nothing that's going to stand in our way. One of the biggest successes that I have is getting into the mindset and psychology of being a champion, especially when I trade. If you've been following me, you would know that I'm bringing in some crazy profits for day trading. For example, in the past 2 weeks alone, I brought in $75,000 of just day trading alone, and that's not even including my portfolio long term. And how I get into the mindset of being a champion and reminding myself that, hey, Phil, you've had many successes before and you can do it again because of these mistakes that we made in the past. And the way I do it is because of this. Team Philakone, Day Traders Club. This is a hat that my wife designed for me, and I wear it every single time that I trade. I wear this hat because it reminds me of that last time where I made a huge trade and made a huge profit. And it's important when you wear something, when you have something next to you that reminds you of that exact moment that you're in. I draw myself a circle around me, I put on this hat, and I smell this thing right here. It's a container full of lavender. And every time I put on this hat, I draw a circle around me, I smell this lavender, it brings me back to that exact moment in the past before where I made a tremendous profit on a trade. Get yourself in that zone to give yourself that positive energy that's going to be like, hey, I can do this. I'm Superman. I'm going to make the best decisions today. I'm going to minimize these mistakes that I've made in the past before, and I'm not going to do it again. It's important that every single day you read that list of mistakes that you've made before in the past, so it's going to remind you firmly to not do it again. And if you can keep up this process of reminding yourself that these are the steps that I've made for myself to be positive, to minimize my mistakes, there's no doubt in my mind that you're going to be successful long term. And the bull market, it's definitely coming. In 2024, 2025, we don't know exactly when it's going to get here, but the point is, it's coming. And the question is, are you prepared for it? And in today's video, we're going to talk about the golden crossover on the daily chart where the 55 and the 200 exponential moving average ends up crossing. This is one of my favorite strategies that I have that's going to help me identify when the bull market is coming so I can start to accumulate for long term. And if you're able to get into a really good position and you're able to hold this position for a long time, it can be extremely lucrative long term. And I find one of the most difficult things things is knowing when to enter, how long you should be holding this for, and especially how to exit. And we're going to go into it very, very briefly today. And if you're interested in it more, this is exactly what my ultimate bull market strategy guide is for. My father was a teacher for his whole life, and I've got the blood in me as well. And if you pick up the ultimate bull market strategy guide after going through a few different videos, I know that the last thing you'll ever say is, I regret spending my money on this content. I know, in fact, it'll be the opposite. You're just going to say to yourself, just like everybody else, that this was extremely valuable and I appreciate this content. I put in over 300 hours of creating this actual course, from planning, from researching, from writing to recording to editing to uploading. And not only that, I review it as well if I find a mistake that I don't like, or if there's insufficient information, or if the quality is lacking, I'm going to go back and redo it and add more to the content like I've done already before. So right now in the ultimate bull market strategy guide that you can find in the link below, it's 40% off, guys. It's normally $17.49 on sale to $10.49 for the ultimate bull market strategy guide that comes with a lifetime Discord membership, 40% off. And then there's also the standalone course, which is $8.99. It's on sale right now to $5.49. 40% off as well for the course by itself. And of course, the lifetime Discord membership and the course itself, it's going to be the best value because it gives you a chance to be in the Discord with me. And by being in the Discord group with me, it's going to give you an opportunity to ask any questions you want, be able to reach me within 24 hours and an answer guaranteed. I love to reply back to people because my ultimate goal is to help you succeed. I love helping people and answering them, and it's one of the passions that I have in life. You're also going to get access to a library of lessons of over 200 videos of short lessons, long lessons, and you can review these as well on top of the live trades that I have, on top of the daily live streams that I have between 3 to 5 days a week, on top of the weekly summary for all crypto, and I talk about the winnings and I talk about the winners and the losers of the week, and especially what we've learned, on top of my trading diary that I have to talk about the mentality, the psychology, and the emotional effects of trading, on top of being in a community full of like-minded people just like yourself, where you guys want to be there to succeed. And you got to think of this next bull market that's coming. It's going to be here anywhere between 2024 and 2025. Are you prepared for it? Are you actually ready? If the bull market was here tomorrow, would you be ready to trade this market? Do you have the skills of what it takes to actually be successful? And the answer is probably not. Maybe some of you are ready. Maybe some of you feel confident to tackle this next bull market. But the answer is probably not a lot of people are ready if it were going to be here tomorrow. Myself, I'm far from ready as well. And that's why I use this time to study right now so I can be ready when it comes. The last thing you want to be is somebody that sees it going by you on the actual news. You read about it. You see that, hey, I see everybody's talking about it right now on every news station, on every publication, on CNN. And I just watched it go by me and I did nothing about it. When you know that you could have had a chance to actually start studying now, to start reviewing bull market strategies that can help you be successful and profitable when it actually does come. But if you decide to just sit there and do nothing with this time when you could actually be using it to prepare for the bull market, the chances are you're not going to be as successful as someone like myself or my friends that have been studying for over 16 hours a day for months now, that are back testing, that are ready, that are making sacrifices in their personal life, in every aspect of their life, so they can spend time to build their future in the next year or two, so that their entire future after that, it's going to be easy for them. If I had to ask you, is it okay to spend the next year or two hustling as hard as you can and make these ridiculous compromises and sacrifices just so you can have the rest of your life exactly the way you wanted it? Is that worth it? I think that for me, it's absolutely worth it. You don't want it to pass you by, because every time we get into a new bull market, the return on investment starts to diminish slowly. And it's much more difficult for us to make these huge percentage gains that I know it's going to make. And that's exactly why I made this ultimate bull market strategy guide. And that's exactly why I made this ultimate bull market strategy guide. I'm going to show you my exact strategies that I'm going to use to day trade in this super volatile market that I know is coming. On top of that, these long-term strategies can also be applied to your portfolio as well, and I show you the portfolio that's going to turn $2 million into $10 million plus. And with this profit that I make, I cannot wait to help out, first of all, my parents especially, Uraz's parents especially as well. I'm also going to spend it on family and friends and make their life so much easier as well. It's always been my dream to be able to take care and help every single person around me that has contributed to my success. I have some major goals to build a new house for my wife and I, Uraz. We don't go out anywhere. We just like to stay at home. We're homebodies. We don't have a lot of friends, or we're not that social outside of just us with our cats. So we want to buy a $2 million house that sits on top of a cliff that overlooks the seaside, that is gigantic, with a nice terrace, with a nice outdoor space, with a huge fireplace where we can burn wood and just relax and watch movies. A place for all of our cats to get a lot of sun. A place where friends and family can come over and we can entertain them in a huge kitchen. And this is one of the small dreams that we have, with a little farm area outside so we can have farm animals that's overlooking the seaside. We just love animals. Just really invest in the things that matter in life, which is ourselves and our family and our friends, and making sure that we're contributing to the world as well and donating to things that we care about. For example, Raz and I, we love animals, so we want to help out more animals in the world. So let's get right into it. Today, we're going to talk about the golden crossover on the daily chart, where the 55 and the 200 EMA could potentially cross over. And I'm going to talk exactly about the dangers of these crossovers, how it's a lagging indicator, and the exact best way to play it in a short form, because everything is found over 20 hours in the Ultimate Bull Market Strategy Guide. So definitely consider getting it. It's in the link below, and I really hope to see a lot of you as my students. So let's talk about the mechanics of a golden crossover. What a golden crossover is it's using two different moving averages. I personally use the 200 moving average and also the 55 moving average. It's considered a death cross when the 200 moving average ends up being on top of the price and also the 55 EMA, because it acts as a resistance. And the golden crossover is when the blue line, the 200 moving average, it ends up acting as a support below the price and also below the 55 moving average. When they cross over, it can either be a golden crossover or a death cross. And it's really important to understand how these work. So what they do is they take the past 55 bars and also the past 200 bars, hence the moving averages of 55 and 200, and they compile an average price that lags. And because it's a lagging indicator, sometimes the data that you get, it's actually happened already because it's a lagging indicator. So it relies on all of the data in the past before. If you think of the 55, for example, the past 40 and 50 bars way in the back on the tail end, it's using that information to give you the data that you have right now. And for example, in the 200, it's using even more way in the back. And that's why it's moving really slow. When you're getting the information that comes in for these crossovers, it can often be too late because it's relying on past data that lags. So what you see right now, it may not be the most accurate information. And I'm going to show you exactly how you can combat this and read it properly for the long term, so you can actually get into a good long-term position for crypto. One of the most difficult things in crypto is knowing when to enter, how to hold it, where exactly to exit as well. So what I'm going to teach you today in this very short video is how to enter based off of the moving average strategies of the golden crossover and exactly what could happen so you can be prepared for it as well. So if you take a look at Bitcoin from 2010, what you're going to see is that the blue line over here in 2010, it ended up acting as a support the entire time. So if you actually got into Bitcoin way before everything happened in 2010, you're going to see that if you had bought it on when the 55 and the 200 moving averages were bouncing, so the best time to buy it is when it crosses over first of all. When the blue line starts becoming on the bottom, and then after it crosses over, you don't buy it when it crosses over exactly. You buy it on a dip of the 55 or the 200 moving average. So when you buy it at these prices, you say to yourself, I will never sell it until it actually reaches a death cross. And a death cross happens when the 200 moving average ends up being on top of both the price and also the 55 moving average. So if you were to buy it, for example, in 2010, when you first got that golden crossover, when it was literally 20 cents, you would have sold Bitcoin when it reached a death cross around this point over here, where this 200 moving average starts to become on top of both the 55 moving average and also the price. So you would have sold it right over here. And that right there, my friends, would have been a major gain. So you would have entered it around 20 cents, and then you would have sold it with a 2,500% profit there at around $5. So what happens after the death cross is it's going to eventually start to golden crossover again. And the golden crossover is defined by when the blue 200 moving average starts to becoming a support below the price action and also the 55 moving average. So if you see the golden crossover happening right here, and I'm focusing specifically on the daily because that's the most important time frame in my opinion. When you see it crossover over here, you start to buy it when you see that it's supporting above the 55 and the 200 moving average. So if you were to buy it as soon as the golden crossovers, it's not the best strategy because oftentimes it can spike up really high and then come back down. So you're going to end up buying it literally at the top. So the best strategy, in my opinion, is to buy it on a dip somewhere between where it goes below the 55 moving average and also below the 55 moving average, but not below the 200 moving average. So you wait for it to rally. So if you were patient here, for example, in 2012 in June, and you let it rally and it dips back down to below over here, you see that there's a gigantic wick on a higher time frame that pushes it back up above the 55 EMA. That's where you buy it. So if you were to buy it right here around the $10 range, you're going to see that it keeps trending. And you would say to yourself, after buying it at $10, I'm not going to sell it until there's another crossover. So the next crossover that you see is right around here, and that happens around $500. So you would have made yourself a 5,000% profit. And sometimes after this death cross, what can happen? This is important, so pay attention. After the death cross happens, sometimes we'll golden crossover once, and then we'll death cross back again. And then we go all the way back down to a lower price point. So for example, here, a golden crossover, and you might have entered around these regions, but I'm going to teach you exactly how to prevent yourself from entering unless there's confirmation of good support that bounces. So if you entered around here, say $500, it would have went back down to $200. So that's not really the best place or the best decision to make. So if you see right here, it ends up golden crossovering again. So right there on the daily, it crosses over in 2015, and then you would have entered on the bounce of the 55 EMA or somewhere between the 55 EMA and the 200. So you would have entered right here using this strategy at $325. And then you would be selling it when there's actually a death cross. And the death cross on the daily happens right over here, and you would have ended up exiting the position around $7,000. So if you entered on the crossover over here when it supports on a dip at $346, and then you end up exiting up over there, you would have made yourself around 1,600%. So pretty huge. So one of the best tips I can give you is this. So even though it ends up death crossing right here around the 6K region, after you enter on the high time frame, which is the daily, looking for that golden crossover, if it's trending bullishly on the daily chart with the 55 and the 200 EMA acting as a support, what you do to look for an exit is you go to a lower time frame. So if you went to a lower time frame, for example, the 4-hour, you would then say to yourself, all right, well, after it's been so bullish and it's been going up and 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 up, what you would say to yourself is, I will exit when the first death cross occurs on the 4-hour. So that would have happened right here around the $13,000 price point. So instead of exiting at $6,000, you just got yourself a double the rate of exiting at $13,000. Does that make sense? So one of the biggest drawbacks of the exponential moving average is by the time, like I mentioned with the lagging indicators, by the time that you see it cross over, it's too late. So you have to implement some sort of strategy that's going to prevent you from taking your profits too late. And the way that you do that is to look on a lower time frame. The lower time frames can really give you a method of exiting. So let's take a look at another example on the most recent bull market that we've seen around 2019 that leads up into 2021. So you see this death cross in 2008. Right after the bull market, we end up getting a huge death cross around the $6,000 range. And then the cool thing is we got a golden crossover. So you'd be like, whoa, I'm so interested, because that's exactly what could happen right now as well. You're like, whoa, golden crossover. It could happen really soon. So what you gotta remember as a rule is you never buy it as soon as it first golden crossovers. You have to wait for a dip. So for example, in 2019, after we first started to golden crossover after the crazy bear market, we would have bought it somewhere between there. But have you noticed that it never truly bounced? So in my opinion, I probably would have bought it right there. Knowing me, I would have bought it. But then if you find out later, if you bought it, say the average of there, it falls out another 57%. So for long term, I'm okay with that. The reason I'm okay with a 57% dip is because I at least got myself into a position where there was a potential for a major rally after a golden crossover. That needs to be understood. And then I tell myself that even if there's another major dip, I'm going to buy on that major dip because I've got cash on hand. So do you understand that? You will never be able to buy at the perfect time when there's a golden crossover. And you have to tell yourself that there's a possibility that a major dip could occur right after that. And if there is a major dip, tell yourself, are you willing to hold on to this position and buy more for long term? Because what I've done over 8 years is that's what I've always done. I bought it when there was an opportunity of a golden crossover. And then when there was one, I bought it. But sometimes it dipped even lower. So I ended up buying even more during those times. But as long as I was in the game, that's what mattered to me. So we see right here that it did end up dropping from about $14,000, another, I think 70% over here, 70% to around the $3,800 range. So if you bought it, for example, right here, that's fine. Because if you think about it, another crazy bull market could have started. You don't know if this golden crossover was going to last or not. You know, for example, here, if you bought it, it fell down 50%. But in my opinion, who cares? You're in it for the long run. At least you got in. This is my mentality. And I know a lot of people probably don't agree with me. But hey, I've turned something from very, very small to something really, really big. And I'm on pace to make over $10 million in the next bull market. And in my Discord group, I publicly share my actual portfolio as well, and how I plan to manage it. So even if it dropped down lower and I'm like, oh no, it's going lower, that's all right. I'm going to buy it no matter what. If we take a look at right now, we see that this death cross ended up occurring already as well. So if this death cross ended up occurring, is it going to continue on the daily? And is it going to reject where we're about to see the price hit very soon? On the 2-day, we see that that's where the next resistance is, $25,000, and also right over here. And on the weekly, what we see is a major resistance coming up. We see that the next major resistance is that horizontal one, and it's also the 200 moving average and the 50 EMA that's about to intersect. So $25,000 is a freaking major resistance. And take a look on the daily. This is where it's important. Have you noticed that on the daily, it's only going to take a few more weeks to a month or two for a possible golden crossover to occur. So right now, it's not the best time to buy. I'm sorry to say, but you're late already. So if this ends up crossing over right around here, which looks like it may, let the breakout happen. And the best thing that you can do, that I'm going to do, is let the retracement come back down, where it's going to hit the 55 EMA and the 200 above it, and then that's where I'm going to buy. But I know for a fact with 100% certainty that there's a huge possibility of it dropping even further to the downside. But I'm not going to take that chance and risk it not happening. Does that make sense? It may not even happen. I don't freaking know. If it doesn't happen, I got myself in a position. And I'm super happy with the way things are going right now. So then if it ends up dipping, I'll buy even more. I'll end up adding like $500,000 to the position. And then if we end up just keep going, it's going to be great. But what we have learned from the past before in this video that I've showed you is that after the golden crossover, there's always another chance for a death cross and another low that's going to form. But either way, I'm not going to take that chance. I'm going to be confident. I'm going to buy because this is coming. It's coming. It's so close to coming. So I'm just going to buy, I'm going to hold, and then where there's another dip, I'm going to buy even more. Does that make sense? Okay, this video got a little bit too long already. I don't want to make it longer. I've conveyed my thoughts where I think that we're going to hit about 25,200 very soon. And after we hit it, there's probably going to be a few options, 3 options. 1, we're going to sideways for a while. 2, we're going to break out really high above $25,000. Or 3, which I think is more likely, we're going to find resistance and drop significantly for a huge retracement that's going to come up. So if this happens, I'm ready to buy long term. And then after I buy, I know for a fact that we're either going to continue upwards and that's the right dip to buy, or it's not the right dip to buy and there's another major drop coming. But either way, I'm prepared. And if there's a major dip that's coming, I'm prepared. And I know there's a few options after the major dip. 1, that's the bottom, and we're going to keep going for a long time. Or 2, another huge drop is going to happen, which I'm prepared for. I'm not going to sell my positions. I'm going to hold it. I'm actually going to buy a lot more because based off of history, what we've seen, these are the things that can happen. Like if you think about it, oh, I don't even have my lucky hat on. I'm going to wear it, guys. So I know based off of history, these are the things that are going to happen. It's either going to drop significantly after we bounce to a way lower price point where I'm prepared to buy more, or it's just going to keep going. So either way, it's going to keep going. Because you know what? Bitcoin's here to stay. Bitcoin's going to reach $100,000. And if you don't believe that, you shouldn't be in crypto. That's why I'm in crypto, because I believe in it so much long-term, fundamentally. And so should you. So I'm going to end the video right here because it's been kind of long already. I'm sorry about that. I sometimes get way too passionate. I'm actually going on my mini honeymoon tomorrow. But I thought it was really important to get a video out today for you guys to have, because I really want to share some of the strategies that I know are going to be successful for long term. And this is going to be one of the strategies that I'm going to use for the next ultimate bull market strategy. So make sure you guys are considering getting my guide. Right now it's 40% off. Why would you not get it? I know a lot of people are like, hey, I only have like $2,000-$3,000 in my portfolio, in my Binance account, in my trading account that I have. I can't really spend the majority of it on your course. But you got to think of it like this. Sure, it's going to set you back a little bit, but you know what? It's going to gain you much more experience and knowledge. And that's going to empower you even more to do well. So you got to see this as an investment yourself. I'm not trying to sell this. Believe it or not, guys, people always ask me, why do you sell content if you make so much day trading? And the truth is, I just want to help people. I know for a fact 100% that these guides that I make, it's going to help people. And I can just be trading by myself. I can close Discord, I can close YouTube, trade by myself. You guys have seen my monster profits. So for example, last year in September, I made $250,000 day trading alone. And then October was even more. And then November, going to that all-time high, was even more. And that was crazy. I can just focus on day trading, but that doesn't make me happy. What makes me happy is trying to help people and sharing what I know. So definitely consider picking up my ultimate bull market strategy guide. That's 40% off. So definitely consider picking up the ultimate bull market strategy guide when it's 40% off. And it's only 40% off for 3 more days. And not only that, I want to remind you that don't hesitate to reach out to me. I'm really approachable. I'd love to send people videos back to respond to the questions that you have, whether it's about trading or about life or anything. I'd love to have a conversation with people because the truth is, I'm in Turkey. I don't have any of my friends here. I don't have a single friend here in Turkey as well. All of them are back in Canada. So I like to be social and get myself involved with communicating with people and helping them out. So definitely send me a DM if you have any questions about anything and also about the course as well. So thank you very much for watching this video. And I hope to see a lot of you more in the future. And I hope that this video has helped you. Bye now. Take care.